You ever wake up and just know the universe is out to get you? Yeah, that's every damn day for me ever since that walking hemorrhoid, Jeremy J. Duggan, moved in next door. This guy isn't just an asshole. No, Jay is the kind of festering boil on society's backside that makes you wonder if some cosmic joke was played on your entire existence. I'm Bill. I've had my share of crap handed to me over the years, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the living hell that is having Jay Duggan as a neighbor. See, I busted my back a few years ago, fell off a ladder thanks to some moron who thought it was smart to leave it on an ice patch. Now I'm stuck at home, hopped up on painkillers just to make it through the day. I thought that was the worst my life could get, but then Jay rolled into town, and boy, did I learn what true suffering was. Jay's a wannabe hero with the brain power of a soggy slice of bread. He's got this half-assed company called City Security Service Squadron, or CS3, which we call it the Crap Sandwich Brigade. He always struts around like some big-shot cop. Except here's the thing, he's not a cop. This jackass went out and bought himself a knockoff uniform from who knows where, complete with a shiny plastic badge that looks like it came straight out of a Cracker Jack box. And let's not forget his car, some busted old Crown Vic that he slapped some flashing lights on, probably with duct tape and hope. This delusional freak spends his days pretending he's the law around here, waving people down like he's got any authority. I swear to God, the guy's got the IQ of a rusted-out bumper. The first time I saw him, he was out front, directing traffic like he was in some kind of movie. He had this ridiculous plastic pistol holstered at his side, patting it like it actually meant something. This idiot's been arrested more times than a drunk at Mardi Gras, but he just keeps coming back like a cockroach that won't die. I tried to ignore him at first, but that's impossible when Jay's around. One day, I'm sitting on my porch minding my own business when Jay pulls up in that joke of a car. He gets out, all puffed up like a turkey, and says, "Bill, you need to move your car. It's posing as a fire hazard. Also, it would be difficult for a funeral procession to come through here." Now keep in mind, this is a dead-end street. There's no procession, no nothing. Just me, my beer, and my growing hatred for this douchebag. I looked at him, trying to wrap my head around the stupidity of what he was saying. "Jay," I said, "this is a dead-end street. There's no funeral procession coming through here." But Jay, the potato head that he is, insisted. He started waving his arms around like a lunatic, shouting, "Official business? Move your car now," like he had any authority. I wasn't moving a damn thing, and I told him so. That's when he got all huffy, like some toddler who'd been told no candy before dinner, and stomped off, muttering about civilians not respecting the law. The best or worst part, Jay decided one day to arrest the mailman. I'm not kidding. Jay saw poor Dave, our mailman, double parked in front of my house and just lost his mind. He marched over, chest puffed out, and started reading Dave his rights. Now, Dave's a big guy, used to be a bouncer before he got tired of dealing with drunks. He just looked down at Jay, blinking, probably wondering if this was some sort of bizarre dream. "Jay," Dave said, real calm, "put your toy gun away and get the hell out of here before I deliver you to the hospital." But Jay, being the king of all morons, doubled down. He started making threats about jail time and resisting arrest, like he was starring in his own low-budget action flick. Dave just shook his head and drove off, leaving Jay standing there with his fake badge and shattered ego. But the real kicker, the thing that pushed me over the edge, was that night. That goddamn night. It was around midnight, and I was half passed out on painkillers, trying to ignore the throb in my back, when I heard this loud banging on my door. My first thought was, what the hell now? I dragged myself out of bed, every movement a fresh wave of agony, and opened the door to find Jay standing there, all wild-eyed and sweaty like he'd just run a marathon through a swamp. "Bill, I need your help," he blurted out, not even caring that he'd woken me up. "There's a situation, a real emergency." I should have slammed the door in his face, but against my better judgment, I asked, "What now, Jay?" "There's a fugitive hiding in the woods behind your house," he whispered, glancing over his shoulder like we were in some kind of thriller. "I need you to back me up. This is a matter of life and death." Now, I knew better than to get involved in Jay's crap, but something about the way he said it made me pause. Maybe it was the meds, Or maybe I was just too tired of everything to care anymore. Whatever it was, I grabbed my old baseball bat and followed Jay into the dark. We trudged through the woods, Jay whispering nonsense about how this fugitive was armed and dangerous and how he'd called for backup, but they were delayed. My gut told me this was all bullshit, but I kept going anyway. Maybe I just wanted to see where this train wreck would end. Finally, we reached this clearing, and Jay motioned for me to stop. He pointed ahead, and I squinted through the darkness. There, sitting by a tree, was a raccoon. Just a damn raccoon, gnawing on something it had found. I turned to Jay, my blood boiling. "You dragged me out here for a raccoon?" Jay looked confused, like his brain was trying to catch up. No, that's just a distraction. The fugitive must be nearby. We have to be on alert." I was done. I was beyond done. Without another word, I turned around and limped back to my house, leaving Jay to hunt his imaginary fugitive. As I walked away, I could hear him talking to himself, hyping himself up for his big bust. That was it. The next morning, I called the cops and reported Jay. Again, they knew him by now, of course, but this time I laid it all out. The fake arrests, the constant harassment, the fact that he was endangering people with his idiocy. The cops finally hauled him off in handcuffs, for real this time. As they shoved him into the squad car, Jay looked at me, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Bill, you don't understand. I was just trying to keep the neighborhood safe." I watched them drive away, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I felt a little lighter. The pain in my back was still there, but knowing Jay was finally gone was the best relief I'd had in a long time. But the universe wasn't done screwing with me yet. Jay was finally released, with a pending court date in the future. The police warned him to stay away from me, so he kept to himself. But things really started to get weird. My trash cans were knocked over every morning, garbage strewn across the lawn. I felt like I was being watched. Didn't Jay get the drift to stay away from me? I was losing it, barely sleeping, jumping at every little sound, waiting for Jay to come back like some vengeful ghost. And then one night, I heard something that wasn't Jay's usual crap. It was the sound of glass breaking, followed by heavy footsteps downstairs. My heart nearly stopped. This wasn't Jay, this was something real. I grabbed my baseball bat, every step sending a jolt of pain through my spine, and limped downstairs. And there he was, Jay, of all people, standing in my living room, holding down some guy in burglar black who was clearly up to no good. Jay had him pinned, his plastic toy pistol digging into the guy's back like it was the real thing. "I got him, Bill," Jay shouted, his voice filled with that same annoying pride that made me want to smack him. I observed this intruder and reported it. "Police are on their way." "You're under citizen's arrest, buddy," Jay informed me and told the burglar. I didn't know what to say. Jay had actually done it. He'd stopped a home invasion on my house. And as much as I hated to admit it, he'd probably saved my life. The cops arrived soon after, taking the would-be thief away in cuffs, and Jay got to play the hero, giving his little speech about how he protected his community. The neighborhood loved it. They threw a barbecue in Jay's honor the next weekend, celebrating him as their 24/7 security. People I'd known for years were suddenly praising him like he was some kind of saint. And the final straw, someone put up a sign at the entrance to the street, "Protected by J. Duggan, our neighborhood watch." I was virtually dragged to this idiocy because of my involvement in this nuts on parade story. I faked a smile and really tried to hold it all in. Then the bottom fell out. The local ladies' rotary even made a jam in honor of Jay. I stared at the jar in my hand, the label practically blinding me with its assault of neon colors and cartoonish fonts. Jay's Cheesecake Jam, the neighborhood's favorite sweet guard. It read, in garish pink and yellow, complete with a grinning caricature of Jay himself. The smug bastard looked even more insufferable as a cartoon. The local retirees, those meddling old ladies who ran every community event like a pack of overenthusiastic PTA moms, stood around me, beaming with pride. Their eyes sparkled with anticipation, each of them leaning in a little too close, waiting for me to taste their latest creation. "Go on, Bill, have a taste. We made this special batch just for Jay's heroic deeds," Mrs. Thompson cooed, practically shoving a spoonful of the jam into my face. I forced a smile, though it felt more like a grimace. Sure, sure, I muttered, trying to sound enthusiastic. My stomach churned at the thought of actually eating the stuff, but I didn't have much choice. With all eyes on me, I dipped the spoon into the jar and brought it to my mouth. The overly sweet, cloying flavor hit me like a freight train, making me want to gag, but I swallowed it down with a forced smile. Wow, this is great, I lied through my teeth, nodding vigorously. Really, really good. The old ladies clapped their hands together, thrilled with my reaction. We knew you'd love it, Bill, Mrs. Thompson exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with excitement. And we're selling it at the next community bake sale. Isn't that wonderful? I barely had time to fake another smile before someone whipped out a camera. Oh, we need a photo for the local paper. Bill, stand with us, Mrs. Jenkins chirped as she pulled me in between the group. Before I knew it, I was trapped in the middle of a sea of floral print and pearls, grinning like an idiot while holding that damn jar of jam. The camera flashed and I knew it was over. The photo would be plastered in the local paper, a testament to my never-ending nightmare. As they thanked me for being such a good sport, I could already imagine the headline. Local hero J. Duggan celebrated with sweet tribute. Neighbor Bill approves. I wanted to scream, but all I could do was nod, clutching the jar as if it wasn't the physical embodiment of my misery. But I guess that's just life with J. Duggan, isn't it? A never-ending parade of fake smiles and bitter lies, all captured for the world to see. Every time I saw that sign, I felt a little piece of my sanity slip away. It was too much. I couldn't take it anymore. Seeing Jay's stupid mug day in and day out being treated like some kind of goddamn hero, I had to get away. I had to escape. That's how I found myself at the local police station, standing in front of a cop with bags under my eyes and a wild look on my face. I need to go to jail, I told him, desperation dripping from every word. The cop blinked at me, clearly not sure what to make of the situation. You haven't committed a crime, sir. I stared at him, feeling the last shred of my patience snap. I can fix that, I muttered. Before the cop could react, I pulled back my leg and kicked him square in the balls. Hard. He doubled over, gasping in pain, and the other officers in the station rushed over, grabbing me, wrestling me to the ground. It wasn't exactly how I imagined my escape, but it worked. They slapped the cuffs on me and hauled me off to jail, and I couldn't stop the grin that spread across my face. That thin pad in the holding cell, best sleep I've had in years. I spent the next 24 hours in prison, and I loved every second of it. No more Jay. No more fake Keystone Cops BS. Just peace and quiet away from that lunatic. But the universe, in its infinite cruelty, wasn't done with me yet. Almost as soon as I was settling in the cell, the guards tell me I'm getting out early. Confused, I asked why. They just shrugged and said someone put in a good word for me. The pit in my stomach grew as I walked out those prison gates, and standing there, grinning like a damn Cheshire cat, was Jay. Hey, Bill, he called out, all smiles. I talked to the cops, told them it was all just a big misunderstanding. They agreed to let you out early. Nice to see law enforcement departmental cooperation at work here. My jaw dropped. This had to be some kind of sick joke. But no, it was real. Jay had somehow sweet-talked his way into getting me released early. The worst part? The old ladies from the Rotary who held their weekly circle were there too, clucking like a bunch of hens. Bill, how could you kick a police officer like that? One of them scolded, her wrinkled face twisted in disapproval. Such a disgrace! Asshole! Another one muttered under her breath, but loud enough for me to hear. The others nodded in agreement, whispering about how I was the problem, not Jay. I didn't say a word. I couldn't. I just walked past them, past Jay's stupid grin, and headed straight for my house. The moment I was inside, I locked the door, shut the blinds, and went straight to the cabinet where I kept a bottle of rare scotch I'd been saving for decades. I'd been holding on to it for a special occasion, but this felt like the right time. I poured myself a glass, the amber liquid gleaming in the dim light of my kitchen, and took a long, slow sip. The warmth spread through my chest, dulling the edges of my anger, if only for a moment. As I sat there, staring at the glass, I realized something. Jay had won. No matter what I did, no matter how far I went to escape, he'd always be there, grinning like an idiot, ruining whatever peace I managed to find. But tonight, with that rare scotch in my hand, I could pretend, just for a little while, that I'd found my escape. That I was free from Jay, from the neighborhood, from all of it, And for now, that was enough.